So a few months ago, one of my coworkers introduced me to Okteto, and it was a total game changer. So today in this video, we'll take a look at what is Okteto and how can it help us. So I'm gonna log in and get started. So this must be the dashboard. On the left, we can see our namespaces, and we can always add a new one. We can also see previews and some user settings. So I'm gonna go back to namespaces and let's deploy a sample application. So I'll click on deploy. You can either connect with your GitHub repository, provide a public Git URL, and it even integrates with Helm charts. So we can see MariaDB, MongoDB, Prometheus, Redis, RabbitMQ, and you can always add your custom repository as well. Going back, deploy, Git URL, and get started by one of the examples from Okteto. So you can go to this GitHub repository. I'll copy the URL, go back and paste it here. Branch seems to be master. We don't have any variables, and let's click on deploy. If we go back to our sample app for a bit, we can see we have a Kubernetes manifest. Here we just define our deployment and a service of type cluster IP. Let's go back. And I'll open this endpoint. And we can see the hello world. Honestly, this is amazing. So I'll go back, and on the right we can see we can use up to 10 pods. I'm guessing this will go away with the subscription, but for now, this works fine. Okay, so now we have the sample hello world deployed. And now let's see how we can make our own. So I'll just click destroy all and destroy all the resources. And I'm gonna close these tabs. Perfect. Now let's go to a code editor. So I've gone ahead and created a very basic Go project, and let's open main.go. We can see it's just a mux router and we are just serving API route with hello Okteto. And in the make file, we have just a run command. So if we do make run, we can see our app running. This is great, but let's imagine you are working with tens of microservices. And as you start running more apps, they will consume more memory and your machine will become slower. Especially when you have to do development across multiple microservices. Usually, to make things easier, we get a machine with more memory and a better CPU. Or we start developing our applications with virtual machines in the cloud. But to me, this was a short-term solution. I was looking for something better. So let's get started with Okteto CLI. So coming back to our demo application, let's close our server. And now I'm going to install Okteto CLI. So I'll go to README and copy this command and execute. So let's try typing Okteto, and we have it running. So I'm going to clear. So I'll start with Okteto login. So Okteto CLI not only allows us to use Okteto Cloud, but also Docker Desktop and Minikube. So right now I'll just select Cloud. You might also be prompted to log in if you're doing this for the first time. Now I'll just do Okteto init. So let's go with default values. So it went ahead and created two files. stignore, I'm guessing this is like a git ignore for Okteto, and an Okteto YAML file. Here we can see we use the Golang image. This will allow us to sync our code changes. We open up some ports and also declare some volumes. And if we want to do some custom setup, we can always set up our Kubernetes manifest file. We might do that in a later video, but for now, let's stick with this simple config. So now I'm gonna do Okteto up. So the CLI went ahead and installed all the dependencies, created a persistent volumes, pulled our images, and provisioned everything in the cloud. And now we are in the development container. And we can see our files. This is basically controlled by this command. So we basically told Okteto, hey, when you SSH into our image, just execute bash and it will drop us into the shell. So now let's start doing make run. We can also see it also binded our ports. So let's check out our server. I'll open a new terminal and let's make the request. And we can see hello Okteto. So I can go back to my main.go and change this to from Okteto Cloud. And if I restart our server and make the request again, and we can see our code is in sync as well. To me, this is a game changer, as I believe our development environment should be as close to production as possible. And Okteto reduces so much friction. And now let's go back to the dashboard and see what changed. So we can see a volume and a deployment. I'm guessing Okteto internally translated our YAML file into Kubernetes manifest and deployed it. Now to stop this, we can do one of two things. We can either destroy everything or go back to our CLI and exit out of our app and do Okteto down. And this should deactivate our development container. Going back to the dashboard, I will also destroy the volume as I won't be using it. I will click include volumes and destroy all. So this was Okteto. I will also mention that Okteto offers way more features than we looked at today. Features like previews, credential management, auto scaling, and many more. But we can cover them in later videos. Lastly, I will commit everything in this repo so you can check it out. So this is it for this video. I hope this was helpful. See you in the next one.